G'day, legends, and welcome to another Pot Noodle on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight is Shane, who is rocking an absolute class t-shirt. Southeast Melbourne Magic NBL throwback t-shirt. Gotta love it. So, how you doing, Shane?
Oh, good, mate. I wasn't initially planning to rock this on the pod tonight. It was just something I was wearing today. I've been a bit rushed for time, so I haven't had a chance to change into a Celtic top. But I am glad I wore it because over the weekend, you and I are both hoops tragics, and over the weekend they had the heritage round in the local basketball competition here, and as part of that throwback round, if you will, they basically honoured the former team, the Southeast Melbourne Magic, and they got a lot of the old championship players present to help celebrate, and they wore some new versions of the old kits and everything. So wasn't maybe initially what I planned, but still topical nonetheless, and it's such a good logo.
Plus Celtics Magic as well. So, after the weekend, a 3-0 win. So, happy days, ticking a lot of boxes. So, bring up a couple of comments to start the show off. So, Dominic is saying, morning all. Time to put the uppity Sevco fans back in their box. Always. Smell the glove. G'day mongrels. Next week, you got to say g'day your flaming galahs or something like that. Do some Alf Stewart stuff. We love it. Doing well, Jerry. Doing well. Hope you're doing well. And Square Sausage Mick. I love it when you do this. How my upside down chums. I didn't even read it. I just know what it says straight away. It's like it's a copy paste job. I love it.
You know what? That's probably one of the first times I haven't tried to turn my head and read it upside down.
Good one.
Well, that was a poor reception from the galley. I'm not sure I'll go there again.
I had some comments, Shane, but it's within the first 5 minutes, so I can't. So I'll behave myself. So yeah, tonight's pod pretty simple. We're going to talk about the Celtic Hibs game. We're going to talk a little later on, obviously preview the Champions League game against Dinamo Zagreb, and then we'll have some hot takes in the middle. But something we're also going to talk about is, well, 50 Cent is a Tim. It's all over the papers. It's all over the social media, the Facebook groups, Twitter, Blue Sky, all that sort of stuff. So with that in mind, we're going to have a look at some other celebs of a Celtic persuasion and just have a bit of a talk about that. So I think all the Huns have is wet, and Gordon Ramsay, right? So I think we completely destroy them. So yeah, we'll go through that as well a bit later on for just because we can. So Shane, Celtic 3, Hibs 0. You and me and Liam did a preview pre-game on the Celtic Supporters Podcast YouTube channel. We also linked it to our channel because they were doing a charity weekend for the Kano Foundation. So yeah, it was different to do a pre-match thing. Haven't done one of them in a long time. Usually whenever I've done them, it was on Axom and someone's running the show and you're just there to give a random comment here and there. So it's yeah, it was a bit different, but really enjoyed it. So I want to say thanks to Dale, Paddy, and the team over there for everything they did over the weekend and for having us on. And yeah, it was interesting, Shane, because you and me went into the game and we were both picking absolute cricket scores. So it was didn't work out that way. So as we discussed on there, the starting lineup: Kasper, Schmeichel in goals, Alistair Johnson, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, Greg Taylor across the back. Midfield of Kalmack, Anna Engels, and Luke McCowan. And then up front, Adamita got the start with Kun and Maeda on the wings. So overall, what was your thoughts on the first half, Shane?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna echo your sentiments around being involved with the podcast and the Kano Foundation and raising money. It was really great to be part of it. So I just wanted to obviously say my thank yous for being able to be involved in that. Completely echo what you said before. Yeah, I'm going to preface most of my comments by pretty much saying that when we were going into the match, I was thinking it would be relatively comfortable, and the first 45 was entertaining, but comfortable is definitely not a word I could use for it, despite sort of despite a lot of the metrics sort of going our way, and we had the ball a fair bit, we were creating a few chances. We weren't as cutting edge as we had been, but we were still getting into some good areas. But just the ease in which Hibs were able to get in behind, and in all honesty, a team that's probably got a bit more confidence punishes us. It was it could have easily been 3-all at halftime. It was that open, and yeah, I was definitely it was definitely not the easiest watch. Enjoyable maybe, but not the easiest watch.
Yeah, it was, as you're saying there, Shane, it was a really open game. And the fact of the matter is, like, before we scored, they could have scored. They had a good chance. Kasper with a great save early on. And we're going to talk about Kasper in particular a bit later on here before we get into the player focus. We're going to go to him before we do that. But as you're saying, with the chances, it could have been 3-all at half time. So for me, I thought both teams left their shooting boots at home in this game. And even though we won 3-0, it could have been ridiculous. Like, if both teams took their chances, Shane, what do you reckon we could have been looking at? Because for me, if that game finished 7-6, I wouldn't have been questioning it. I'd be like, yeah, that seems about right for how open it was and the chances both teams got. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think there's always a case that even on the best of days, some teams not going to take one or two chances, even if they do have their shooting boots on. So I reckon we could have easily been looking at 4 or 5-4 or something of that nature, as opposed to getting beyond that. But yeah, it was just really interesting to watch. I don't think we were particularly poor, but where I think we sort of struggled was just our positioning when we gave the ball away, and our pressing, which Brendan talked about in the press conference. We just seemed to be off in those regards, and that was enough for them to get in behind and cause us a little bit of trouble. And if it wasn't for Kasper, we're probably talking about a different outcome right now.
Well, on that, Shane, it's two things that caught us out. Where they were getting in behind, it was if Dinamo Zagreb had a scout there watching us, they'd be like, okay, target down the left. Because Taylor inverting and then our press not working left us exposed and got Scales caught out position a little bit while covering for Taylor while he was out of position. So it all seemed like I'd say the majority of it, either they broke down there and then got across through to the middle, or the danger came down that side. So yeah, it was a bit of an open game. And yeah, I just thought overall it was one of those games where if you're a neutral watching that, you'd have been like, oh, this isn't too bad. But we're not neutrals, obviously. So it was a little frustrating at like 2 a.m, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning. It was a little frustrating, to be honest with you. We're missing some of those chances. I'm like, why am I up? What are we doing?
Well, I mean, I had the same frustration, but my frustrations were more at the chances that we were, or that they were getting, that we were essentially letting them have. Like, watching them, and they really should have put a couple away easily. Like, how they went in at halftime without scoring was incredible. And they were their own worst enemy, really. There were a couple of chances where they got in on goal and just took an extra touch, and that was enough to bring Kasper into the game. But the frustrating thing for me was just how easily they were creating pretty clear cut chances, and we didn't seem to have an answer. And yeah, that's where my frustration was. Not that we necessarily put them away, but that they could have easily put a couple past us.
Well, on that, Shane, the stat heads will love this. So we had 21 shots, 11 on target, and 76% possession, all right? And quick maths, 514 more passes than them and 20% better pass accuracy. They had 14 shots, 9 on target. So the percentage of their shots that they took was on target was a lot higher, and only 24% possession, obviously. So the fact of the matter is, yeah, it was a bit of a it's one where I don't know how we kept a clean sheet. But Engels' goal, I still don't know who touched that ball last. Did Engels touch it to go in, or did Ida touch it and then it's just gone past Engels? Because no celebration. He almost looked a bit embarrassed. Like, did that just ricochet in off me or whatever? So, yeah, just with Arne Engels' goal in the first half, I thought great ball out wide, good cross in by AJ, and then we just whipped it into the net. But What was your thoughts on that goal?
Well, it was good to see that partnership on the right again between Kun and AJ, and I love the way they're linking up at the moment. They're starting to really build this level of understanding with each other, and you could just sort of see Kun's got the ball. They're occupied with Kun. He's dangerous. His form this season has caused players to obviously be pretty conscious of him cutting inside and creating. AJ goes on the outside. He's able to get the ball to him. Something AJ is doing a lot more this season is hitting the byline and getting balls back into the box like he did. And he's such a good, he can fizz a ball right across the box, take the keeper out like he did. And yeah, it was just a case of someone's going to tap it in. And I think it came off Engels. I haven't rewatched it in a forensic capacity to see, but he was a little bit sheepish about it. So sometimes the celebration or lack thereof is a little bit of a giveaway, and maybe he didn't touch it. But look, the build-up deserved a goal, and I'm glad it found its way into the back of the net.
I'm not saying that Engels didn't score it. That's the thing. For me, seeing it with like struggling to stay awake at that point. I know it was early in the game, but after that pod that we did, I turned the TV on, sat down, and I was just like starting to hit the head wobbles already. So I was like, all right, get through it. Watching that goes in. I'm like, did Ida touch that? Ida had to touch that. Engels isn't celebrating. And then they put up Engels, and they're showing him, and I'm like, huh, where? And then I don't know. I still haven't seen it, but if he scored it, great. If he didn't score it and Ida did, great. I don't really care. Celtic scored at the end of the day, so I'm not going to be too harsh on anyone. I just thought it was funny where he wasn't giving away much in terms of the celebration. Well, yeah, I'll go bring up some comments here. So Jerry Burns is saying, we had a few shaky moments on Saturday. They were catching us on the break. Square Sausage Mick is saying Kasper earned his wages this week.
And then some.
Oh, yeah. And then Heavy Vibes are saying, hope Kasper not as busy on Sunday. He was a wall against Hibs. Not just Sunday. Can't believe we're playing a Champions League game tomorrow. Like it's Monday now, and we play Tuesday night. So for us, it's kind of weird, right? Because for you guys, it's Monday as well, but it's tomorrow night. For us, it's still, I have to go to sleep tonight, and I still have to go to sleep again before the game. So it's like, it feels like it's ages away. It doesn't feel like it's tomorrow, but yeah, it's going to be a good one there. Jerry's saying about the chant like that. It's always difficult playing teams in a 5-4-1, 100%. Smell the glove. Hopefully with CCV back and Trusty back to the left in the defence will be more solid tomorrow night. And yeah, I agree with that. I think we'll be a bit more settled. There we go. Loving it. So, yeah, it's one of those for us where, and McLaughlin, you got a good point here about the game coming up. Zagreb fans are dreading tomorrow night from what I'm hearing and reading. Yeah, I was talking to one today, and it depends what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but we'll get into that a little later on. But yeah, it could be an interesting one. So just back to the second half, Shane, I'll let you just give us your rundown on the second half, the goals, anything you feel like, and then we'll crack on from there.
So I thought the second half, I thought we were probably a little bit more comfortable. I thought we were a bit better with stopping them getting on the break. And we looked a bit more cutting edge, particularly when Jamesy came on. And something that we've spoken about before is his ability to come on and basically be really direct. And not only was he direct, but he was involved. I'll get to his contribution on the third goal shortly. But I just felt we had a little bit more control, particularly without the ball, than in the first half. And we started to pepper them a little bit more. And it felt like that the second goal was just, it was going to happen. It felt like it was coming. And we'd had a couple of siders, didn't quite work out. We've got the corner. Ida, who I thought had a much better second half than first half, that's for sure, does really well to get his head on it, to try and knot it into a dangerous spot. Unlucky for Newell, it goes in, it's a known goal. I'm pretty sure from memory Scales is right there if Newell isn't to pretty much tap it in anyway. So we were scoring either way unless something pretty drastic happened. And then despite all of that and feeling comfortable, and it's a well-used phrase, but 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. All of a sudden, they had a couple of chances, and we had to call on Kasper again to basically dig us out of a hole, including a pretty amazing double save. Unfortunately, McCowan playing the ball back, Yuan read it well, did really well to read it, and drew a really good save from Kasper straight off his line as a double save, actually. I think that was their last salvo, really, to be honest with you. When that didn't go in, I think the game from there was ours for the keeping. And then Jamesy's made himself look really, or kind of highlighted, I think, what we weren't doing very well in the first half and portions of the second half, which was our positioning and our pressing. And he's crucial to that Kyogo goal because he presses from the blind side to win the ball back. Plays it. I can't remember who it is that plays it to Kyogo off the top of my head. And then Kyogo, the quality, just that little touch to then get in on goal was just perfect. But look, overall, I thought we were better. But still, there were moments where I think we could have done better as well.
So a few things there, Shane, I'm going to jump onto. As you were saying, the goal our second goal was coming. 100% agree with you on that. It was obvious. It was coming. We were on top. Yeah, once it happened. But the thing that's being overlooked a lot on that is I don't feel bad for Hibs in terms of giving their own goal because, hey, Carter Vickers did one recently, so whatever, swings and roundabouts, right? But I don't think he knew much about it. Like, Ida flicking that on the way he did was just, like, that's not getting spoken about. The fact that the big man up front is when his crosses and stuff are coming in, if he can't score, he's flicking it on. He's getting that, heading it on to the other guy, to the back post, trying to free something up, make something happen, get it in the mixer. And I think, yeah, he's been unreal for us recently. Coming on, he's not really playing the impact sub role that he was playing last season. He's more playing, it's like 1A, 1B sort of thing where it's interchangeable. Who's going to start depends on what we need. And with what games we've got coming up, like we've got a Champions League game away, we'll probably start Kyogo for the press. So Ida will start this one so he gets some run in his legs, and Kyogo can get rested up a bit. And then on the weekend, we're playing a cup final against, that manky mob. So by doing that, again, both players will have had a good run leading up to that, and we can go horses for courses. So I'm really liking the squad rotation there, but Ida, just that flick on, dangerous. I'm liking the look of it. It's different. Didn't see much of that from him last year. It was like, come on, we need a goal, and he just went to town, and he was a different sort of striker for us. But I'm liking the evolution from him. And then unfortunately for Newell, he puts it in the back of the net. Fortunately for us, suffering your jocks, Newell, will take the goal. So we got that. I'm just going to bring up a comment here. So Smell the Glove responded to something we said earlier about Engels not celebrating. I thought Engels didn't celebrate because all the dickheads have been having a go at him. Fair point. And then John, morning, mate. Back from the school run. He's talking about anything good. Oh, just the Hibs game where we won, 3-0. That's about it so far. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll flag that one for later, and that one, a couple of comments for later on.
Just while you flag the comments, just to go on your Ida points for a second. I agree with you. And you can also chalk this up to another win to our set piece routines, which are getting a lot better in terms of what we're creating from them. Us having a corner isn't just sort of playing it short and trying to get in, play it around the box anymore to find an opening. We look dangerous from corners now. And Ida's a big part of that. And you're right, that flick on is so crucial. Like, it just puts it into an area. It's quick. The pace is on it. He knows it's going to cause a bit of trouble. The keeper's unsighted on it. Newell's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And sometimes I think, unfortunately, Ida makes a little bit of a rod for his own back. You saw the first half when he tried to, back heel that goal in, and it just looked bad. And you could sense, it's one moment, but you could just sense people are going to pick up on that. And I'm pretty sure people did. And he didn't look quite in the game in the first half, but in that 25 minutes he played in the second half, he was much more involved. And he looked like he was actually getting into the flow of the game a bit better, and capped off by essentially an assist, if we want to call it that.
The thing as well, though, is it's not just, as you're saying about the set pieces, it helps when you've got some good delivery coming in from them.
Mm.
We've got options. Bernardo's delivery from a corner is magnificent. Engels is good delivering from a corner. McCowan is good doing it as well. So the fact that we got those three whipping in great, crosses, corners, whatever, whether it's a free kick or it's a corner, it helps. Even Scales is flicking on a bit now. He's been doing it recently, so it's good to see. It's starting to come back into it. So yeah, I'm really liking that. Back to something else you said, Shane, about the second goal, right? Oh, sorry, not the second goal. The third goal was what I loved about Kyogo. You're saying, yep, that little shimmy and the way he lifted it. The thing I love is the speed he was going at. It's like he sold it with his eyes, or like a shoulder feint in his eyes to make it look like the keeper thought he was going low. And he got that keeper down and then bang, lifts it up over the top of it. So, yeah, I just thought it was unbelievable. Just the way he sold it and got the keeper to commit so quickly and was able to get the ball up and down and in like that at the speed he was going. Like, the guy's a class act. He's not far. He's probably, what's he like, 18, 19 goals off becoming a Centurion in 4 and a bit seasons? 4 seasons at the club. Unbelievable. He keeps
He's,
going.
oh,
Go on,
sorry, you
Shane.
go, mate. I was just going to say he's such a special player. He really is. But and you can see the way he thinks about the game. He's almost 2 steps ahead. You know, even with his movement and his pressing, you can just see the way that he reads the game. He's got that intelligence behind him to go, I know what's going to happen next, or I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen next. And you're right with that goal, that ability for him to effectively sell it with the eyes. We've waxed lyrical about Kyogo for many seasons now, and with good reason. But he's just such a, as you said, a class act, and that was a tremendous finish.
And there's a good point here from McLaughlin when we're talking about the free kicks and that and the corners. It's no coincidence Dundee scored from the most set pieces last season with McCowan whipping them in. 100%. I think we've got ourselves an absolute bargain there. So what we'll do, Shane, is Kasper Schmeichel. We've been talking about, I named the episode after him, All Hail Kasper Schmeichel. Class. Like, we've said he had a lot of saves, like that double save you were talking about, right? Kasper made 8 saves in the game. They had 9 shots on target. He made 8. The other one, I don't know. I think they must have kicked it into someone else. I can't remember, right? But made 8 saves. 4 of them are ones I'd expect him to do as part of his job day in, day out. He's a goalkeeper. I'd expect him to, if the ball's coming at him, get a foot on it or dive for the ball at someone's feet or whatever, right? Or come out and punch the ball or, that sort of stuff. But there was 4 real quality ones. That double save, the first save that he made on that, I thought was one of those run-of-the-mill stock standard. You're a goalkeeper, I'd expect you to make that. But the fact that he got up quickly and was able to make the second one, that's a quality save. So I just want to put some spotlight on him. How class was Kasper's performance? And, I just said about McCowan has McCowan, bloody hell, that person's in my head.
You're gonna get the mail now.
Yeah, no, good. Now Luke has paid off his fee already. There you go. Kasper's done the same deal, considering it was a free sign, and is just unbelievable pickup for us. Joe Hart was amazing for us for 3 years, and we haven't missed Joe in the slightest on the pitch. So what do you think? You're thinking about Kasper's performances, Shane?
Oh, it was tremendous. We don't get anything from this game, in my opinion, without him between the sticks. Like, he was just incredible. And I agree with you on the saves that you've highlighted as ones that I think, yeah, he really shone. But even the header late on, he has to react. I know it's at him. I can't remember if it was Yuan or Rocky Bashiri, but there's a header late on in the game, really late into the game. He has to react super quick, and he does. And he basically parries it up to himself. And even then, he's been busy all game, and right to the end, he's ready to go. And that's probably what impressed me the most about him, is a lot of those saves were reaction time saves, right? the double save, McCowan inadvertently plays Ewan in. He comes off his line real quick. He's there to meet him and make himself big. He doesn't hesitate. And that's probably why he gets that save in and then can get the second save in. And a couple in the first half as well. Now, there were a couple of moments where Hibs, if they had the time again, probably wouldn't take that extra touch or wouldn't try and hesitate. But again, he's got to react really quickly. He's got to make a decision to come off his line and make himself big, right? Any hesitation, all of a sudden it's all over. And his reaction skills were incredible. He hasn't been called on in that regard or in that volume in the league all season. We're this far into the season to see that, and yet he's ready to go. And I was just super impressed by him. He's absolutely paid off his fee, that's for sure. But it was incredible. And he got special mention after the game, of course. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, when's the last time a Celtic keeper was man of the match in a league game at Paradise?
Good
You could even throw that out in general, right? But we've had some games, on the road where maybe, Joe's had to make a couple of saves or even going back to Craig Gordon. But at Celtic Park in the league, when's the last time a goalkeeper won man of the match?
Last one I can think of at Celtic Park, and it wasn't in the league, it was in the Champions League, was when La Gran Muralla was declared with Fraser Forster in the Barcelona game. I can't remember a goalkeeping performance leading to a man of the match like that in a long time at Celtic Park for one of our guys.
I couldn't think of it. I went through it today and I just could not think. And I was going to look it up if I had a chance to see if I could find out, but not sure it's happened. We've seen some incredible performances. Obviously, Fraser Forster, even in that cup final at Hampden, the 1-0 with Julian scored in. But yeah, no, that's an incredible performance.
So I'll bring up some comments about the whole Engels stuff that we're talking about early on. So Square Sausage Mix saying most fans are right behind Engels. Smell the Glove is saying Eder and Engels really don't want Taylor to leave as the dickheads will move on to them full time. They always need a scapegoat. James, thanks for tuning in, mate. Hail, hail. I got tongue-tied before, and James is saying that I'm still on the bong. I wish, mate. I'll tell you that much. It'd give me an excuse.
See, I saw Wee Man and thought he was talking to me, and I was trying to work out what I said.
Nah. Smell the Glove saying, remember Kasper would have been under pressure a lot at Leicester, so you slipped into form. He's a great goalie. Yeah, he sure is. And then some comments about Luke is Class B player there. He's got here, Luke bleeds green. Kasper is class. And then we've got a few others. He said Fraser Four-Star Cup final at Hampden. McLaughlin saying Kasper was man of the match at Rugby Park.
I didn't know that. That skipped me. Good pickup.
And then Heavy Vibes are saying the holy goalie. So, with a bit of an interesting situation there, but just to player focus, is anyone else you want to touch on from the game?
Probably Luke McCowan again. We've already talked about him a little bit. Have I stolen yours again, have I?
No, this is a Luke love sesh.
Well, we were pretty... I'm going to big us up here. We were pretty strong on him early on getting more appearances before sort of he came in against Ross County because we like what we've seen. We want to get that, as you was talking about with that production line, but also we want to see some more Scottish talent playing for the club and getting starts. And, we've been on it for a little while. And, he was imperious against Ross County. He didn't have the same involvement and sort of, I guess, level of performance against Hibernian, but I still thought he was very good. And what I like about him is just his energy, right? And his willingness to move into, pick up really dangerous areas where he can get the ball. I thought Hibs did a better job of marshalling his runs into the box. He was still looking to make those runs and get in behind and make himself an option to get a pass in the box. I thought Hibs did a better job of marking that. But even then, just his ability to get on the ball, and he loves that little one-touch pass around the corner just to get someone involved. I thought he was really, really good again, and I really hope we continue to see more of him because there's a dynamic that he provides in that midfield at the moment there's an energy with him playing in that sort of more advanced role in that kind of 8 area that maybe sometimes we don't get from Bernardo and Engels, to be honest with you. In fact, if I can go down this path for a second, he probably reminds me a little bit of what I'd see if Kalmack played in that kind of 8 role.
It's funny you say that, because what I was about to add on to what you were just saying is that what I like about McCowan's game is that he's not afraid to make runs, and he's actually a legitimate box-to-box midfielder. Like, we've always tended to have, you're a 6, you sit here and you screen your centre backs and you give them someone a pass to. We then have someone further up, playing in the 8 or whatever, but they don't tend to go, they tend to sit deep or whatever. Like, I think the last guy that I can think of playing who would actually go proper box-to-box defense and attack, but he only did it in Europe, other than Aaron Moy, right? Let's put him to the side because he's Australian. Everyone will say green tinted specs. You got your Aussie stuff on. The kangaroo's like threatening you. Look, he's going to punch me, right? But realistically, what I'm seeing with the timing of the runs and being willing to run forward but then also drop back is he's kind of a combination of Kalmack when he's playing that 8 role, or let's go to the Lazio game, Olivier and Cham in that role.
Yep.
It's that sort of runs that he makes, and I'm enjoying it. I'll bring up some comments here. So what we got coming up here? Tamboy88 is saying, hopefully we can get Kasper to extend his stay at Paradise. He's still a world-class keeper. McLaughlin saying, McCowan's doing great, but he better be firmer with his next back pass. He'll learn his lesson. Smell the Glove is saying, hope McCowan gets last 30 in Zagreb as he can't play Sunday.
Yep.
James is saying, Luke, the goal is your father. There you go. I helped you with some sound effects very badly. Don't hate me. Heavy Vibes are saying Luke never hides. He always shows for the ball.
I like Kalmack.
Yep. And then Tamboy saying McCowan's a fantastic player and also has a bit of a dig in him, an absolute bargain at £1 million. And I'm sure there's more of them in Scotland that we could sign and would come in and would have a crack and could make the grade at Celtic. So I want to see more Scottish players there, but I think it's time to move on a little bit from the game. So man of the match was Kasper for me.
Yeah.
Have to be in agreement. If you're not, Shane, I'll be like, get in the naughty corner.
Nah, easily Kasper. Easily. Well, for all the reasons that we've stated in the last 30 minutes.
There you go. So we're going to have a bit of fun now. I've got to get it back open on my phone because I'm an idiot and shut down what I had open before. So 50 Cent is a Tim, everyone. Like, it's all over the news, everything as I said early on. So I want to have a look at other celebs of a Celtic persuasion. So is there anyone that jumps off the page at you, Shane, or do you just want me to rattle through a list?
Oh, well, a couple of the obvious ones I know. Billy Connolly to start with, the big yin. He's, a massive Celtic fan. And, even now you sort of see him, he does it in a little bit of a different way. But I remember even distinctly going back to lockdown COVID era, the mask he was wearing was a Celtic mask, right? He loves Celtic. He really does. And he's so funny. I love the big guy.
So that was one on the list here. I've got a bunch from the Wikipedia page. So there's some real obvious ones, right? So there's actually a thing when you go into it, famous fans, and there's heaps. So I thought you were going to lead with Norman Blake, from lead singer of Teenage
Fan Club. He was next on the list.
Frankie Boyle's obvious. Susan Boyle. Yep, that's right. Then you've got Stuart Braithwaite from Mogwai. Kevin Bridges. One that I didn't know about was, Charlie Birchall from Simple Minds. I knew that one. Jared Butler, we know. Lewis Capaldi, we get it. But Alison Brie, who was from like Community and wrestling, that I'm like, that just makes her even better. I've liked her in a few shows and stuff she's in, but that's just moved her up a rung.
Absolutely.
Jay Barichel, the Canadian guy, I butchered his name. My bad. Then you go through Martin Compton, Tony Curran, apparently Lana Del Rey is.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm sure I've seen her wearing a Celtic kit as well.
The most obvious one, Dominic Diamond.
Big
Anyone
Celtic man, Dominic.
anyone
Big
goes
Celtic
on
man.
Twitter, if you haven't seen him telling someone to do one, some hun telling him to do one, it's the best. And then you just keep scrolling through. You've obviously got Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher, George Galloway's one there. And you just keep scrolling through. Karen Gillan. And then we keep scrolling. I'm just like, there's heaps of different names here. Ariel Helwani, the UFC journalist.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, wasn't aware of that. On this list I'm looking at, apparently it says Jay-Z is, but I don't want to go anywhere near him because he's got
Yeah.
that Diddy stench on him. So let's distance ourselves. Whoever wants to update that on Wikipedia and move him across to the Huns page, go for it. And then you scroll through. The fact that it says Robbie Keane and Roy Keane on here, yeah, they played for the club, so let's ignore them. And then you keep going through. Jennifer Love Hewitt,
Oh wow.
James McAvoy, Ross McCall. And you just keep scrolling. It just keeps going and going and going. Obviously, you got Conor McGregor there. One for the Aussies. Eddie Maguire's on the list.
Yeah, his whole family sort of came out from Scotland, and they're all Celts.
Shane, I've got a story for you. Eddie Maguire. My mum was a school teacher growing up. She went to teachers' college, and her best friend who she went to teachers' college with is my godmother. The other person that we are real close with in teachers' college is Eddie Maguire's sister, Evelyn. If you're watching Evelyn or you see this, g'day, you're the best. She ended up being my year 8 teacher. Her sons worked for Eddie. I was at a Collingwood Football Club president's function for a game one time, and I walk up to the table. Eddie's sitting there. Everyone's approaching him and that. And I walk up and he completely just ignored him and start talking to his sister. And sure enough, he comes over. Oh, who are you? I got and introduced himself to me. So Eddie, top bloke, gotta love it. And then we started talking about Celtic, and he's just mad for it.
Oh no, he is. He loves Celtic, and so does his brother and sister. Big family.
Good old Frank.
Big family connection. Yep, Frank.
Yep. And you've got the president of Albania, Ilir Meta.
Oh, he's a massive Celtic head. He's the one that's on the socials all the time and getting paradise.
Then you've got Paolo Nutini, obviously. And you just keep going through. And it's crazy. Duke Rufus. And then Snoop Dogg's on there. Rod Stewart, obviously. Hamza Yusuf's the last one on the list. And then I've skipped a bunch of the wrestlers. So you've got like your Finn Balor. You've got your, I don't know, those other guys.
Brendan O'Carroll is of, unless I'm mistaken, Brendan O'Carroll is of Mrs. Brown's Boys fame. I'm pretty sure that's Brendan O'Carroll.
There's another one that's not on the list, but I know for a fact that he is because I've had him on here. So, Gianni Capaldi, anyone? I had Lewis on the list, but I didn't have the other Capaldi. And the other one is through Gianni. I can confirm that Randy Couture is a former UFC heavyweight champion, is officially a Celtic fan. And so is Matthew McConaughey. So there you go. So we've got heaps on here. And the comments is going off. I'm loving it. So it's great.
Our support is far and wide. And, there's obviously a lot of people on there with connections either through Irish background or part of that wider Irish diaspora and that connection there.
Square Sausage Mick, God Almighty supports Celtic. So does the Pope. Smell the Glove is saying Chibs from Sons of Anarchy. Yep. And you just keep going here. This comment here is class. Smell the glove. Jennifer Love Hewitt certainly gives Celtic great support up front.
Oh.
I had to. Here we go. The founder of Creation Records, Alan McGee, said, all the cool people support Celtic. Rangers have me in wet, wet, wet.
I've,
That's where I
I've
got that
I've
from.
read
Mate.
a lot of Alan stuff, and I remember that quote, and it
Yeah,
always pissed my pants reading that.
yeah, it's good fun. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that we can add 50 Cent to the list. It is amazing. He's going to be doing Transmit, and he said when he's over there, his plan is to go to Paradise and watch a game. So well done corrupting him, Snoop. Got to love it.
Oh, I love the Gallagher brothers as Celtic fans as well, although they don't tend to talk too much about Celtic as much as they used to. But there's a great shot, there's a great photo of when Liam was in Australia a few years ago, and I can't remember which pub he was at, but as he was sort of heading out of the bathroom, a guy came in with a Celtic top on and basically stood and chatted to him. And there's this great photo of this chap wearing his Celtic away kit with Liam kissing the badge on it, and it's really awesome. But they still love the hoops. They just don't seem to talk about it as much. I wish they would.
One of the boys in the Axom chat, he lives over in New Zealand, right? And he was at the A-League game over there. So Auckland FC versus Wellington. So the derby. Rocks up wearing a Celtic shirt. He said he got about 15, 16 compliments of people saying hail, hail, or love the shirt and this sort of stuff. And he goes, and then I got called a Fenian bastard twice.
It's a mixed bag.
You gotta love it.
You have to. You've just got to love it.
That's how it all works. So what we'll do, Shane, is we'll get into the preview of our Champions League game tomorrow night. There you go. So the match is Tuesday night. I don't know exactly what the time is. I tried to figure it out and lost it because my thing was saying, but yeah, the game's at Stadion Maximia. There you go. I got a wording thing. I went spoke to my wife to make sure I said the name Maximia right. So in the Champions League, Zagreb have been solid so far in the Champions League with 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. In their recent league games, they have had 3 draws and 1 loss. They are currently in 3rd place in the Croatian League and 23rd in the Champions League table compared to us being 20th place in the Champions League table. We've had one more draw and they've had 1 more loss. So we're both 2 wins, we're 2 draws and 1 loss, and they're 2-1-2. So, Shane, what's your general thoughts heading into the game?
General thoughts are that I think we can't sort of play necessarily without the ball, play that kind of press or lack thereof that we saw against Hibs. If we're going to be any chance to take anything from this game, so that's my initial thought that crossed my mind. Look, overall, I'm kind of interested to see what lineup Brennan goes with. To be honest, I'm a little bit undecided at the moment. I think CCV definitely comes straight back in. Probably Scales sits on the bench for him. I'm really undecided. I'd love to see Via come in, obviously for Taylor on the left. And in the midfield, that's where I think everywhere else probably picks itself from there, but the midfield, I'm a little bit undecided. I'd almost give McCowan a start. And I know I've got the McCowan tinted glasses on at the moment, but the kid's he's playing ripping football, and I love the energy he brings. And it's the kind of energy that you need to get a result in Europe, particularly away from home. I love what Bernardo and Engels do bring, but I think there's a poise that they have in the way that they play, whereas there's a bit more energy. And as you were saying before with McCowan, the runs that he makes off the ball. And like I said, I think you need that. You need a little bit of that kind of X factor as well, leaning on some very Americanized terms at the moment. So that's probably where I'm a little bit, my head's at the moment. Whether we keep McCowan in the team, I think the other changes I've rattled off, I'm pretty much expecting to happen. And just how we go about it. I don't really know too much about. Well, okay, I won't go into detail. I was just going to say I don't really know too much about Zagreb. I haven't followed them that closely this season. So
you're doing this ding, 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 ding everywhere on the next few things I wanted to talk about. So I'm just like,
I promise you, I was just going to pause to say, if it doesn't sound like I'm really across Zagreb, it's for a fact.
Yeah. So the general thoughts heading into the game, they tend to play a 4-1-4-1 formation. So I've had a look at that. The main thing for them is they try to get the ball wide and then get the ball over to their target man up front. So the key for us is going to be making sure if we invert, we recover in time, especially if it's Taylor and he's got Mabuku coming at him on that left. He's pretty quick. I don't know if his crossing's any good, but from what I've looked at, he will get acres of space like what we had against Hibs, but turn up to 12 or 13. It's just gonna be he'll just go flying past. So we've got to be picky on that there. So next question was going to be, what would our game plan be for this match? Will we look to play our usual high pressing style, or do you think we'll take a more pragmatic approach? For me, I think we will probably go the same sort of setup we did when we played against not necessarily if like Bruges, RB Leipzig sort of thing, where we're going to get out there, we're going to press in certain areas, but we're going to keep our shape and we're going to not have as high a line defensively and leave the acres of space behind. We're going to be a bit more back it off a little bit and then get at them and contain it a little bit more, make it a bit tighter. Yeah, that's how I think we'll play. What are your thoughts there, Shane?
Yeah, similar. But I also think that kind of ties into your comment about what we do potentially with the fullbacks, most certainly left back. Whether if we actually are going to invert, making sure we can recover in time, or whether we go down the line of maybe having Via in and not so much inverting, but sort of keeping that width. And I think that sort of ties into how we sort of keep our shape as well, and whether we're going to press the same way we usually do, or play a bit more pragmatic. For what it's worth, I probably agree with you. I think we'll see a mixture. I think we'll probably have a bit of a press, but then keep our shape as much as we can. We want to try and get something from this match.
Smell the glove said before, I just don't get the whole Via hype. I think half the hype there, Smell the Glove, is because he's not Greg Taylor. And half of it is because he gives us that balance. I seem to think that we're a lot more balanced across the back when we have Alistair Johnson on the right and we have Via on the left, because both of them can invert if it's required, but they also are able to play narrow to let the winger overlap. They're able to get out wide and let the winger come through inside. So they're a bit more versatile and they give us that balance. And the way they line up in the 4-1-4-1, I think that setup's probably better for us than having a Greg Taylor there trying to invert and overload the midfield. So, yeah, that's what I think it is here. Smell the Gloves also saying hopefully not Bruges first half performance. We're saying how we want to see, what we want to see. So, what areas of our play do you think will have the biggest impact on getting the points in this match? It's pretty simple, Shane, isn't it? Keeping our shape at the back.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Normally I say it's about the midfield in this, but I think the key thing is we have Team America at the centre backs. We have Kasper in the 4 mids in behind him. We have Kelmack sitting in that 6, just screening. And yeah, we just keep that rock solid there. And then we don't let them, their wingers in particular, get at our fullbacks. We're going to be fine. Then we will have the ball and we'll be able to control it and play it at our tempo and play it at our pace. Not have our guys turning around and being out of position. So the key thing is keeping it solid at the back. The old saying was you want to win your home games, and if you can draw your away games, then that's how you qualify. So if we go in with that mindset and we come out of there with a draw, great. I think we can win this game, but we want to make sure we're solid defensively, especially at that stadium where the crowd is just, a good warm-up for what you'd get if you were playing at Ibrox, even though the cup final was at Hampden.
Yeah, agreed.
So, tying into the last one there, what do you think will be the biggest impact for us to get the points in this game, Shane? What will be the key areas for us to focus on to win it?
Well, I mean, we could probably rinse and repeat, really, with the keeping our shape and I kind of guess leaning on what I was talking about with the press earlier and just making sure that when we do press that we're not sort of behind the 8 ball as we were or as we saw on the weekend against Hibs, where just if you're a fraction off, Hibs really exposed. If you're a fraction off in Champions League level, European level, you can get really punished. And outside of that, I think it comes down to just taking our chances. We talked earlier in the game, or talked earlier in the pod, I should say, about the chances we had against Hibs and how we didn't take a couple of ours. You can't do that in Europe either. You've got to bury the chances that you get. So if we're going to go up top, well, I won't go into the lineup just yet. I'm sure you want to touch on that in a second. But with certain players that we've got there, we're going to have to make sure that if we get opportunities, we score. And if you look at the Champions League games that we've been successful in so far this campaign, we've been successful because we've taken our chances.
100%. And as Tamboys88 saying, we've got to be at it from the first whistle and not let them dictate the play. If we take our chances, I fancy us to win 2-1. And then McLaughlin saying, I hear Zagreb are nowhere near selling their ticket allocations out for tomorrow. That's to be expected this time of the year in the Balkans. Football fans don't really come out for anything that's not a top of the table sort of thing or a derby. It's too bloody cold, it's snowing, whatever. And then our fans, I know we travel, but yeah, there's been issues with the police and threats and stuff over there as well for our fans. So anyone who does go, be safe, behave yourself as best you can, and yeah, have fun. So, yeah, so are you expecting it to be a high-scoring match, Shane, or do you think it's going to be a close little scrappy one?
No, this to me has all the hallmarks of like a. I'd say both teams are going to score. I doubt either team's going to keep a clean sheet. So I'm looking pretty much, as the comment said before, like a 2-1.
So will we be expecting the same starting lineup that just played against Hibs, or do you think there'll be changes heading in the game? What's your expected starting lineup? Before you give that, I'm going to go grab a comment from, where is it? I saw it before. I've just gone past it. Nah, lost it. Don't worry. Keep going, Shane.
All right. So, Kasper in goals, obviously. Via on the left. Carter Vickers and Trusty with AJ on the right. The midfield, I'm still pretty undecided about, but I'm going to go Bernardo, Calmac in the 6, Bernardo, and I'm going to give McCowan a start. And then up front, I'm going to go Maeda, Kyogo leading the line, and Kun on the right.
Fair enough. I'm thinking it'll be Kasper in goals. It will be Team America, as I said, in centre-backs. Right, it will be Alistair Johnson. On the left, I'm going with Valle. Just because I want that defensive stability and balance. I don't really think inverting is going to have a bigger impact with their lineup, the way they position. So 4-1-4-1, it's not really going to be as crowded in the middle of the park. Then, yeah, middle of the park for me will be Calmac, Bernardo, and I'll be putting Hatate in. I love what Luke's been doing, but I see him as the sort of player where we can put him in later on and he covers a lot of different options for us. Say if Hatate's having a bad game, Luke covers him. If Bernardo needs to come off, we need someone to play box to box. Luke covers him. So it gives us more versatility where one player on the bench can cover two positions. If we had Luke starting and then we wanted to get more attacking down the thing, you have to put Hatate on. If you want to get more defensive, you've got to put Engels on. So that's covering two different spots, two players on the bench to cover that. So I'll lock it the other way around. And then up front, it's going to be on the wings, Maeda, Kun, and Kyogo starting in the middle. And my score prediction is we will win 3-1. And the reason it'll be 3-1 is going to be 2-1 in the 80th minute. They're going to be throwing bodies forward, trying to get that equaliser, and we'll get them on a counter. So, yeah, that's how I think it'll end up 3-1. You gave your score prediction already, Shane, or not?
No, I didn't. I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. Kyogo and Kun, the goal scorers.
Sweet. So what we'll do there is Jerry Burns is saying 2-2 tomorrow. Hey, I'd be happy with that. Still a point in the bag. So, yeah, what we'll do is we will go normally we have a final thought. So we'll do that. But before then, we want to go one hot take. So, Shane, let you go first.
It's a little bit random, this one.
But
the
random hot takes, by the way, they're not football related. They can be anything.
Tying into sort of what I was talking about, it's more of a challenge and a hot take, but obviously we're talking at the start of the podcast about the the basketball doing the heritage round, and this is for any sport doing heritage round. It could be football when they're celebrating sort of previous teams and so forth. But just a challenge to those, if you are going to do heritage round, I'd love it if you could also do heritage round pricing for tickets and merchandise and food and drink and everything. Go the full hog. If you're going to celebrate the 90s, have 90s prices. That's all I'm saying.
So I got this book, right? And it's 100 symbols that changed the world. And it is false advertising because there's not a Celtic logo in that book at all. So this should be going in the bin.
Thud.
Yep, pretty much. So we'll go with final thoughts. Before then, everyone, if you're watching, please hit the like button on YouTube if you're watching it. Helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Tell a friend about the podcast. Share it around in any Facebook groups, whatever. We appreciate each and every bit of support that we can get for the podcast. Final thoughts, Shane? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, just leaning into something I was talking about last week, which was I've been getting in or been listening to a lot of an artist by the name of Leon Bridges, who I found through sort of basketball connections through the Dallas Mavericks. He helped design the new Dallas Mavericks City Edition jersey, and so I'd never heard of him before, so started listening to his music. I was waxing lyrical about his debut album last week. Well, I've started to listen to more of his back catalogue, and they just vary from album to album. He goes from sort of old school rhythm and blues to more contemporary rhythm and blues to more kind of, I don't know, elements of electronica. Each album seems to be really different. So when we're talking eclectic music and we're talking different styles, this guy, Leon Bridges, seems to cover a lot of different fields. And the one thing he's got across all the albums is a really solid set of songs. So if it sounds like you like that thing, even if you don't, it wasn't my thing when I started listening to it, and I really dig it. So Leon Bridges, any of his albums, check them out if you get a chance. Highly rated.
On a music theme, my final thought is, everybody, it's the 9th of December today. There's only 16 more days of having to tolerate that Mariah Carey Christmas song. Thank fuck for that. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Hail, hail.
How?